This is a classic tale of a quarterback who had some talent, who was still presented with an opportunity to prove his worth, only to have the moment of glory slip by his fingertips. This is the sad story of Carson Wentz's career. Carson Wentz's college career began as a backup at FCS Powerhouse, North Dakota State. Carson redshirted his first season, and then as a redshirt freshman in 2012, he was a backup quarterback to Brock Jensen, where he threw only 16 passes the entire season. Even the following year as a sophomore, he continued to be a second-string quarterback and threw for a total of 30 passes. It was a start to a career that wasn't exactly noteworthy. No one was paying attention to Wentz and no one gave him an afterthought. But then, something remarkable happened. Wentz's career took a giant leap forward when he finally received the starting role during his junior season, as he led the Bison to a 15-1 record. He played a massive role in the team's success as he threw for 3,111 yards and scored 25 touchdowns. While on the ground, he was able to rush for 642 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. And during the Division I football championship game, Wentz delivered as the Bison won their 4th consecutive title and his first title as a starter and leader of the team. Obviously, it was a very successful season for Carson Wentz at that time, as some people and NFL teams began to notice him. Now in his final season of college football, Wentz was determined to show everyone that he could play quarterback at the next level. Carson Wentz was so great in his first 6 games that he managed to pass for 1,454 yards and scored 16 touchdowns. Unfortunately, he suffered a broken wrist injury in the first half against South Dakota. This injury forced him to miss the next 8 weeks of the season before he was cleared to play in the national championship, where he led NDSU to their 5th straight title, helping the team with both passing and rushing touchdowns. He was also named as the game's MVP for the 2nd straight year. Overall, he ended his college career on a high note and went 20-3 record as a starter and the leader on and off the field. He also broke and set new records in every passing category. He was North Dakota State's single-season passing attempt record holder with 358 attempts. Also the single-season record for completions with 228. In passing touchdowns, he is still the record holder in a single game with 5. And many more stats show that Wentz is still number 1 as of this day. It is fair to say that Carson Wentz's sad career was turning that frown upside down as he was finally a winner in college. Wentz was balling it in college and earned the respect of his coach and fellow players. His head coach at NDSU, Chris Kleiman, had this to say about Wentz: "His ability to process information is second to none." Every NFL scout were impressed with Carson Wentz, especially Frank Reich of the Philadelphia Eagles, as he said, "When you evaluate Carson in the process, if there are 5 to 7 key boxes that you are trying to check off for a guy to come in and be an elite quarterback, he checks off all of the boxes. If you are scoring all of those boxes on a 1 to 10 scale, he scores a 9 or 10 on a lot of those boxes." The Philadelphia Eagles were so taken by Carson Wentz that they drafted the quarterback 2nd overall in 2016. In fact, the Eagles made a trade with the Cleveland Browns to move up to 2nd in order to get Wentz. That is how in love they were with the young quarterback. And to be fair to the Eagles, Wentz did an okay job for them in his rookie year, where he scored 16 touchdowns, which is 2 more than his interceptions, and he won them 7 games. You can't really expect more from a rookie who did complete 62.4% of his passes. So all the pressure would funnel into the sophomore season, where Wentz actually broke through as a legitimate elite quarterback, or at least a quarterback that you would take seriously. He played in 13 games and won 11 of them. He had 33 touchdowns, which was 17 more than his rookie year, and only had 7 interceptions, which was 50% less than the previous year. It was also a year where the awards committee took the opportunity to praise Wentz's efforts by awarding him a Pro Bowl spot, an All-Pro honor, and he finished 3rd in the MVP race. This was a man who played as a backup during his early years in college football, and 2 years later was an NFL League MVP candidate. It was also a season where he picked up an injury and couldn't play in the Super Bowl, which the team won without him. Many experts feel that missed Super Bowl trip led to the impending downfall of Carson Wentz. The following season, the quarterback played in 11 games and only won 5 of them. Fewer touchdowns and getting sacked more often led to a down season for Wentz. Things improved ever so slightly the next season as Wentz managed to play 16 games, winning 9 of them, scoring more touchdowns, having more fun, and earning a nomination for Comeback Player of the Year. But doubt still swirled as to whether or not Wentz could recapture his sophomore year magic. The higher-ups in the Eagles wanted assurances and drafted quarterback Jalen Hurts, 53rd overall in the 2020 NFL Draft. Wentz played in 12 games and only won 3. He was benched in Week 13. Wentz had a career low in pass completion with a 57.4%. His career with the Eagles was over. The next time we would see the talents of Carson Wentz would be the following season with the Indianapolis Colts. With the Colts, Wentz found himself in a situation where he knew he was the best quarterback on the team, and that confidence saw him play in 17 games, winning 9 of them. A winning record? Sure, but he wasn't the main attraction on the team. That honor went to running back Jonathan Taylor, and so the offense was set up around Taylor instead of Wentz. Despite that, he still managed to score 27 touchdowns and only had 7 interceptions. His pass completion percentage, however, was seemingly too low for the Colts organization. In the end, the Colts didn't like the fit or having someone as inconsistent as Wentz navigating the team. They expected more from him, and soon he was again traded, this time to the Washington Commanders. In what would be the worst time in his NFL career, Wentz lost his job to Taylor Heinicke after breaking a finger in a win over the Bears at Soldier Field in mid-October. The Commanders, who were 2-4 under Wentz, went 4-1 under Heinicke, who remained the starter after Wentz was healthy. Here are Wentz's final numbers on the season. Started in 7, won 2 games, had 11 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. The most important stat of them all, he was now regarded as a backup player at best. Now, as we mentioned at the start, this is a classic tale of someone with noticeable talent and rising to the ranks of professional stardom, only to experience a swift and painful downfall. There is proof that Carson Wentz was once a good player and maybe even a great one given his size and talent. But there's also a recent bias that suggests that those characteristics are no longer present. Everyone loves a comeback story, and in the league this season we have seen one in the form of Geno Smith, who spent years as a backup after falling from grace only to rise up again from the doldrums. Is Carson Wentz a better quarterback than Geno? Only time will help us answer this question, and that is something that Wentz has in abundance. He has the time to assess his situation. At the moment, Wentz stands to make over $26 million in 2023 and over $27 million in 2024. There is no financial incentive for him to hang up his cleats and retire. Then again, it is clear that there's no future for him in Washington. The chances of a team trading for him are unlikely, but not out of the realms of possibility. Teams in the NFC South like Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Atlanta could entertain Carson Wentz as a potential starting quarterback, given their lack of depth and talent in that position. It comes down to faith. Do teams still believe that the Carson Wentz of 2017 is still the Wentz of 2023? Can Carson Wentz convince them that he still has a lot of fight left in him? These questions should be answered during the offseason. For now, Wentz has fallen, and the clock is ticking for him to get back up. His career is a roller coaster of highs and lows. It's been a sad career, from MVP caliber QB to now being the backup QB again. Please let us know in the comments below, but before you go, if you still want to watch some awesome NFL content like this, please watch the next video that will pop on your screen.